Welcome to another episode of A Brother with Questions. I am your host, B. Period, man. Man, I thank y'all for joining me, man, on this ride, man. We are continuing to grow growing in our likes. We're growing in our views, man. Man, I appreciate y'all, man. I really do. Please, if you have not, go like and subscribe to the channel. Like and subscribe to our other platforms, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. Please join this ride, man. Join this ride with me as we venture off into this journey of content creation. Let's see. Today, man, I got another reaction video for y'all today. As you can see on the screen with me, Tyler Perry. Tyler Perry made some comments, and it is going crazy, man. A lot of people seem to be upset about what he had to say. So without further ado, man, let's listen to what Tyler Perry had to say here.
If that man works, at whatever job, and is a good man and is good to you, and honors the house and honors his wife and does what he can, because his gift may not be your gift.
Exactly.
That is okay. That's not somebody who's beneath you.
Yeah.
That's somebody who came to love you at your worth, right?
Yes.
And as long as he's secure in himself to know that, yep, she makes most of the money, all I can pay is the light bill. As long as she's comfortable enough to say, I'm going to cover the mortgage and all the other stuff, you can have the light bill, baby, you can take me to dinner every now and then. That is fine.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
But that's so hard for a lot of people to take in, because that means, no, I need somebody to, who is, they need to make 5 times more, and I got to have, well, go keep your list, baby.
Yeah.
God bless you. Hope it happens. Go keep your list. But when you talk about just someone to love you and support you, I know people whose men can't touch what they make. But when you see them together,
I say there it is,
love,
people. There it is. That's what he had to say. So, man, I've seen so much. I mean, I've seen people misquoting him. He obviously said, loves you for what you're worth. I heard other people misquoting him and saying people that love you at your worst. It's just all over the place. But what's interesting about this is, he's piggybacking on conversations that, rest in peace, Kevin Samuels was having when he was alive. And his particular platform was, going crazy. And a lot of men as well on the internet talk about some of these same things. And so for me, I kind of wanted my approach, I wanted to kind of look at, where we are, right? So he also got flack because he was talking about Black women. And I kind of get flack for stuff like this too. But I always say, at the end of the day, is if Black men are commenting about making the Black community better, why would we be talking to someone who doesn't exist in the Black community? I don't understand that. I don't understand why we're supposed to have these conversations about all people, when at the end of the day, if you listen to more of that conversation, he was really talking about the Black community. Because the Black community is what I think Black people should be focused on building, because there's so much that we haven't tapped into, that we can tap into to make us great, to the place that we feel like we are, a lot of us, but a place that we don't necessarily see ourselves as being. And so, yes, he's talking about the Black community, especially when he's talking about family, right? One of the challenges that we have is we don't have families in the same way that we used to. And what I mean by that, I'm talking about marriages where you have a mom, a dad, and a kid, with actual marriages, not living situations, not boyfriend, girlfriend situations, marriage. So, that's an issue that we have. So to kind of approach this, I wanted to look at the stats, right? Because that's a part of that conversation, right? The conversation is, black women are doing so well and black men aren't keeping pace where black women are. Okay, that's fine. And if that's true, it's true, right? But I started looking at some statistics, right? And so they call this age pyramid for those that don't know. And so what you're seeing is where the majority of ages of the black population is. You can see there's a lot of us. There's quite a bit of us in that 50 and below range. So that's pretty good because that's an indication of growth is what that is. That means there's a lot of potential for growth in the black community because especially when you look at the children-bearing ages. So when you look at that children-bearing age of, I would say about 35 and below, look at that right there. That's one of the biggest charts by comparison. And then in that 10 to 15, 15 to 19 range, that's really good. That's an indication that we got a lot of growth that can happen. So I'm excited about that. I don't know about y'all, but that makes me excited. Okay? And then look at this number. Nearly half of Black America is under 30 years old. You look at that. Under 30 years old, that's 21. 21 plus 18, that's 39. Right? 39 plus 27, that is 39 plus 27. Woo! 63%. That's a lot. That's a lot. Come on now. That's growth. That's growth, y'all. I'm excited about that. But now here's another interesting stat. This one is very interesting. So the majority of us are in the South. 56% of us are in the South. As you can see, these are 2021 stats. So we ain't talking 18 years ago. So 56% of us are in the South. Okay, and I'm gonna come back to that number in just a second. So we're just looking at the numbers, Look, here's another one. I like this one too. So when you look at areas, the majority, 8% of the population is in the New York, New Jersey area, 3.9 million. Okay, and then you can see after that in the 2 to 3 million, 1 to 2 million range where we are. So that's an interesting stat as well. Here we go. This is the one that I really think is interesting. Now, again, you can see this is a household number, right? So this number represents the collective. So if you're married, right, we're talking about 2 people. If you're single, then that's you. You know what I'm saying? But the average is 46,000. The average is 46,000. And then even if you look at this number over here, right, it says that that's 53%. So 53% don't even make 50,000. 17% are in the 50 to 75 at 11, from the 75 to 99, and 20% in the 100 plus. I guarantee you most of these are married couples. Okay, so if you look here, 39% of this represents married people. Okay, households headed by married couples, 39% headed by married couples, 31% female householders, 5% male. So, and then of course, when it comes to education, one of the arguments is black women are way more educated than black men. And so here's some of those stats for you. College degree represents about 29% of that. College degree, some college, 32%. So, okay. Or was that 26? I'm sorry. I can't tell. I'm sorry. That number is a little too small for me. Y'all. I apologize. We mostly identify as Christians, so that's interesting as well. But the issue that he's talking about, right? He's talking about an issue of relationships where women say they're making way more than the average man. And they want a man, though, that is making as much as them or more. And so here's the last stat I want to talk about before I get into a lot of my conversation here. The last stat I want to talk about is, and I, again, people will be like, where you get these stats from? This is a 2019 stat, so it's a little bit older, right? 4 years, right? But it says that in the black community, there were approximately 170,000 people who made over 100K, which represented 2% overall based on the country, right? Because the country's around 9%, 2% of that they're saying is people who identify as Black. 170,000. Okay? When they break that down by male and female, okay, the percentage is a little about basically a half. Okay, so the actual numbers are about 90,000 of those are males and another 80,000 of those are females, approximately, that make over 100K. And herein lies where his conversation is picking up and where I want to start. So it frustrates me when I'm thinking about marriage and I'm thinking about the idea that people get so caught up in the income as it relates to marriage. And here's why. I find it challenging to believe that your love for each other, number one, started based on money. Okay? And so, because here's the thing, if it did, then y'all was on the wrong foundation anyway. Because how much he or she makes is never going to be the reason why y'all stay together. Because that's fickle. Because anybody who's with somebody because of how much money they got automatically feels more often than not, probably feels like if I found this dude with 100K or 200K or 300K, I can go get the next one. You know, if we just look at how shows like a Basketball Wives and shows like, these kind of shows, you see women who will go from this ball player to that ball player to this ball player, right? Because they make a certain amount of money, but it ain't got nothing to do with the love because it started at money. So if it started at money, I think we already got a problem because money is never going to be the reason why y'all stay together. Assuming y'all going to last the 50 or 60 years that you saw maybe someone, your parents stay or your grandparents or whoever, or maybe your uncle or your auntie, whoever in that marriage that you saw, they didn't stay together because of how much money they made. So that therein lies the bigger problem right there. But in what he said, and what a lot of people have been taking offense to is that, and I'm assuming, they're saying they're making all this money, but the stats say, right? And these are 2019 stats. They say about 80,000 Black women are making more than 100K. There's 40 something million Black people in this country. That's not the majority. Quite frankly, that is so much the minority, it don't even make sense. So what are we talking about when we go, well, I'm doing all of this, why can't he be doing da-da-da-da-da? First of all, it's only 90,000 Black men that are doing that anyway. There's 46 million of us. What is the conversation that we're having that we're so focused on money that we can't even begin to get to hello? And then we wonder why we're so jacked up. We're having the wrong conversations. And to get back again, he said, well, if you are that woman, so you are one of these 80,000. Okay? He obviously was being a little extreme when he said all your man could do is pay the light bill. The average Black man makes around $40,000, $45,000 a year. So he could probably pay a little bit more than a light bill. But let's say he is the plumber. Let's say he is the electrician. He's the teacher, right? You make 200K. He's the plumber, electrician, the teacher, or any number of college educated if you're a teacher, trade school graduate if you're the plumber, the electrician, right? And there's a whole lot of jobs that fall into those categories. What's wrong with that? I don't know what you do to make 200K, but I'm proud of you. But what's wrong with dating a teacher? That the average teacher probably in this country makes around, I would imagine, around 50K. Some more, some less. What's wrong with that? Why is he devalued? Simply because as a teacher, he's never going to achieve 200K. Why is that? I don't know a lot of men that would devalue a woman because all she was a teacher. Why is it that women devalue the man? Why do we say, what's wrong with him because all he's satisfied in being a teacher? What's wrong with that? Do you know how many kids are benefiting from him in that classroom on a daily basis for 15, 20 years if he retires, 30 years if he retires as a teacher? Do you know how many kids he's touching? Do you know how many kids he's influencing throughout the course of being a teacher? Why is that devalued? Simply because it's not 200K. Why is he looked at as if he doesn't have, what's the word? Ambitions. I get frustrated with this concept that somehow if you don't make $100,000, you somehow devalued. You somehow don't have ambition. You somehow are not a great man because your ambition is not to build a $200 million business. And I don't say that because, I don't see myself that way. So I'm not here to speak on what I believe. I am that dude that intends to build a $1 billion business. That's who I am. And so I'm not speaking from a mindset that's not who I am. I'm speaking on the mindset that, everybody ain't gonna be no entrepreneur. First of all, if every black man was an entrepreneur, who's gonna work for him? Who's gonna work? Because I can't build $1 billion business if everybody around me has got $1 billion business too. Who gonna work? So we need people who are willing to do a great job at 50,000, at 60,000, at 70,000. We need those people in the world. Those are the people who drive the world. So the idea that I'm somehow less because I fit in that mold of I'm going to do a great job at this position so that I can go 9 to 5 every day and be home at 7 o'clock in the evening and be there to, maybe I'm the dude that wants to make sure I'm there every day to help my kids with his homework. So I don't want this high pressure job that's going to force me to be away from my kids in the afternoon. Maybe I want to take my kids to every soccer game, every soccer practice. So I work this 9 to 5 job that pays me $60K because it gives me that opportunity to be there for my kids in the way that I want to be there. Instead of going and working some high pressure job where they require me to be there 12 hours a day and now I can't get home to put my kids to bed at night. What's wrong with that man? Why is that man looked at as if he's somehow less? I just don't understand these concepts. We're no longer in the age of one income household. So what? And then what is this notion that most men can't handle the woman making more to them? You know what that sounds like to me? That sounds like weak men. That sounds like men who don't know who they are and don't have any value in themselves. And so you know what I feel about that? Those are the wrong men. And if those are the men you're running into, then you need to check yourself because you need to find some different men who have a value in themselves where they are and are not insecure because of where you are. Because that says more about you because you're choosing them. And it says a lot about them because they're not strong enough yet to understand and appreciate a woman who's achieved some great things. But to devalue him because he hasn't achieved the same things that you have? Come on, man. What are we doing? Do we love each other or are we just here to compete? Because there's no relationship that's going to be successful if we're always competing with each other. At some point, we got to get on the same page. And we got to define what our goals are, whether you make the most or I make the most. Define what our goals are and then work toward those goals. If this relationship is based and began in love, and don't get it twisted, love ain't going to keep you there. Love is where you begin. Relationships about commitment. And commitment has nothing to do with how much money you make. Commitment is commitment regardless if we got $1 million in the bank, if we got $100 in the bank. If we're committed, we're committed. That's the relationship you want. Commitment. Love is a beginning place, and it's a lovely place. And it's amazing. But if y'all not committed, regardless of what the bank accounts say, y'all ain't got nothing anyway. Y'all together for a moment, for a time, for a being. And those are the relationships that I keep hearing us talk about. These relationships based on money. No, I'm not telling nobody to date a man that won't work. Because if you do, you're foolish. Just like a man who dates a woman that don't work. He's foolish too, in my opinion. So I'm not here to say that. But I'm saying if you got a woman or a man who is working, who's doing something productive in life, regardless of whether or not they want to make that into $1 billion business, or if they want to work at where they at. If that person loves you, if that person's committed to you, if that person sees you as your equal, if that person's willing to build with you and make a real commitment with you, what are we talking about? And then this fallacy that we're all making 100K or more. The stats don't support this idea. Even the stats say, and these are 2019. So you know what? I'll add another 30,000 and say maybe 200 people, 200 black people in America in 2022 maybe registered as making 100K or more. That's still 200,000 out of 46 million. So that means the majority of us are making less than that. So you telling me we can't get together when the majority of us ain't making this? We can't get together? What are we talking about? You're fighting 80,000, 100K black women. You're fighting for the 90,000. That's it. That ain't even enough to give one of y'all a man. As a matter of fact, it's 2023, right? So these are past statistics. So we understand that of that 90, some of those are already married. So really the 80K are fighting for less than that. What are we talking about? It says it right here. The stats show that the majority of us are making less than 50K. And we having arguments about, well, I don't want no man. What? What are we doing? When are we going to be about changing our mindsets so that we want to build a community that's built and structured in family first? Stop worrying about frivolous things, because money comes and money goes. Because there's black men who make a bunch of money and don't know how to manage it. There's black women who make a bunch of money and don't know how to manage it. So the money, it will come and go if you don't know what you're doing with it anyway. So what are we talking about? And here's the truth. Most of us don't know what to do with the money. Most of us are really just starting to learn that stuff. Right? If it's 90,000 men, you know what a good percent of those men are doing? They're playing sports. Or they're former sports stars. Or they're on TV and they're an actor. So they're the first person in their life that ever made any kind of money like that. You telling me all of them just automatically know what to do with this money? You know how we know that ain't true? Because the average athlete within 5 years of retirement is broke. So what are we talking about? It ain't even about having the money. It's about knowing what to do with it. So if you got 200K and you great, that's awesome. I'm glad for you. But if you don't know what to do with it, matter of fact, if you even go deeper into stats, just look at America as a whole. The average person that makes more than 100K is living paycheck to paycheck. Stats say that. So you know what? They don't know what to do with that money either. Black, white, or whatever. What are we talking about? Can we change our mindset and start having conversations with each other about commitment? I love you. I'm committed to you. And as my vows say, richer or poor, healthy or sick, it's me and you forever. One of the things that I say in my own marriage, you ain't divorcing me. It ain't gonna happen. We will be apart when somebody dies. And after I die, you do what you do. But if I'm alive, this is me and you. Well, sometimes I don't like you. Okay? Sometimes I don't like you either. That's marriage. That's a marriage. That is a marriage. But you know what? It's a commitment, though. And that's the thing that we are missing. Commitment. Before you start doing X, Y, and Z, you should find out that there's a commitment. Because if there's no commitment, you messed up anyway. If they just having fun, what are we doing? Find out if they're committed to you. Find out if they want a commitment. How about that? Did you have that conversation? Did they want to be committed to somebody one day? Forever? Ever? 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 Shout out to Outcast. So, you know, and I'm gonna go ahead and close this out, but one thing I want to see, I want us to change our conversation. Okay. Number one, the majority of us don't make 100K. We're a very small percentage of people that do that in the country and especially in Black people. And then number two, recognize where you are. Okay, you saw the stat. I showed you the stat. The majority of Black people are in the South. That's what the majority of them are. So where you are is also going to dictate, you know, the kind of man you're going to be looking at. Because if you're in some of these other regions of the country, the numbers are getting even smaller for you. So what are you looking for? What are you willing to do to be able to get what you want? But money is not going to be your solution. And I'm not here to tell you every man's going to be cool with their woman making more than them. There's some insecure men out there that do feel like if they don't make more, then somehow they're less. They exist. And then there's some women who have the wrong attitude about the fact that they make more. They're going to feel like because they make more, they get to make more decisions. No, I don't agree with that either. I think the decision should be, you still can, I think even though you make more money, I still think your husband can lead the household. I don't think how much money you make defines how you lead the household. Part of leading the household is leading the household without having your emotions attached to the decisions that are made. That's one of the things that can sometimes be a challenge when you have women leading households, because women tend to be more emotional than men. Men can typically make more logical decisions regardless of what their emotions say. That's important, because every decision can't be emotional. And y'all might kill me for that, but that's I think that's the truth. And if you deny it, you can deny it, but I think it's truthful. But we'll be better off when we can get back to a place where commitment becomes the number one priority. I'm committed to you regardless of whatever it is. And if you can find a man and a woman, regardless of who makes more, that'll stick to that plan, that'll commit to each other, that will become married to each other, and that will intend and build a relationship together that lasts forever, ever, ever. Man, what a place we'll be. Making $100K or more as a family won't be an issue. Because nobody's telling you to get a bum. We're just telling you that there's some good dudes out here that make 50 or 60K and are going to make that for the rest of their life on average. So let's stop pretending like those dudes are somehow not so great, not living up to their potential. Because everybody can't own the business. And some people are going to be great at that job that they do that pays them 60K. And we need those people just as much as we need some people in the community that make more than 100K. They're all playing a part. And let's stop pretending like because you don't have the 100K or more salary and you can't make that in your lifetime, you're somehow devalued. Because that's a ridiculous statement. And it's an ignorant statement, and shame on you for making it. Man, I'm your guy. B period. Appreciate y'all for listening, man. I hope I said something that you found valuable, man. Again, please like, subscribe to the channel. As always, I'm out.